Good morning, everybody. Can somebody confirm that you can see me and hear me, please? Good morning. Can somebody confirm that you can see me and hear me, please? Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to start with a pick a pile. You can pick a number 1 or 2. Thank you to my mods for being here, and thank you to everyone for waiting to post questions. Number 1 or 2. If you picked number 1, you've made magic out of your wounds, and that gives you every right to be cautious about who is allowed to experience you. Oh, you can't see this because I don't have it up. Here we go. 1 second. Okay. You've made magic out of your wounds, and that gives you every right to be cautious about who is allowed to experience you. And if you pick number 2, we often only meet our true selves on the other side of madness. Good. There we go. Okay. Let's begin. Do my spirit guides have any messages for me and a song? There needs to be some form of action in whatever it is that you're worried about. It's like something is keeping you feeling stuck in place, but the right action is taking an action in the opposite direction of the fear. So whatever it is that you're fearing, which feels like some form of expression, the only way out is through. Expressing and releasing will help get you into calmer waters from currently feeling very anxious about something that there's lack of movement on. Oh, the song is The Reckoning by Need to Breathe. My paternal grandmother has never come through in a reading. Does she have a message or song for me? 2 opposing forces working together, me and her. 8 of Cups, walking away from something unfulfilling. Page of Swords in reverse. It wasn't the time to tell you previously what I'm able to tell you now. Unstuck towards happiness. I'm sorry, please forgive me, and I have a new understanding. I feel like it was more of not that she wasn't able to come through, but almost like unable to figure out how to articulate the intensity of what she wanted to say, if that makes sense. The message is that you've become the version of yourself that can go back and rescue or save or comfort the previous versions of yourself. And it's almost like this coming full circle type energy. Yeah, the Hermit. Paternal grandmother is saying that there's a lot of her that she sees in you, and almost like this energy of coming full circle that she doesn't necessarily need to explain, because there's a lot of similarities between the 2 of you, and almost like the message is that you've been receiving certain messages through the day today from her that you're going to now be able to start putting together, if that makes sense. Past lives. Religious devotion, burned, okay. Enslavement, and accomplishment. Traveling by boat, religious devotion burned, and religious devotion burned, and enslavement is giving like burned at the stake type energy. Accomplishment, it's like something you set out to do that you were very good at, but at the same time that was also your demise. Right into a trap of someone you should be able to trust, but that they were untrustworthy. 7 of Wands in reverse. Judgment in reverse. Didn't see that you were walking into a trap that was going to be a final destination. I would read this as like you made waves in some kind of community that wanted to silence you, and they ultimately found a way to silence you. How do I identify if and when I receive a download? So it's just learning how to trust what it is that you are receiving, because innately you do know. It's like this feeling of sometimes you're questioning if it's just your thoughts or if it was a download. The world is reversed, so lack of completion of a cycle. When it comes to the star, this would be the download here. So it feels like not the more you keep track of what you are receiving and then you see how it plays out, you'll be able to decipher more which is a download and which is a thought. So it feels like not necessarily something in the moment you need to be doing, but more of keeping track of what you're receiving so you can see how your higher self is communicating with you. And then you'll kind of just get more comfortable with knowing, okay, that was a thought or that was a download. So keeping track of what you're receiving, essentially. Should I use Craigslist or Realtor for temporary home? Craigslist. Realtor. Justice is reversed. So there's a feeling of it may take a little longer to come to like some kind of signed agreement when it comes to Craigslist. But with Realtor, it feels like spending unnecessary money, or like there's a better way to get this to manifest. Because this would be manifestation, but in reverse, this would be manifestation upright. So I feel like Craigslist is the more it's the more logical, I guess, option, because it feels like you're spending more money than you need to if it comes to a realtor in this situation. Although it may take a little bit longer, it feels like just more feasible that way with Craigslist. Will Steven's car be fixed this weekend? Fulfillment, vehicle, celebration. I'm going to go with a yes there. Guidance and messages from my spiritual guides in a song. This is like needing to let yourself do something that you enjoy so you can allow your active mind to get out of the way for a little bit and kind of give yourself a bit of a brain break. 7 of Swords in reverse, like letting out the tension. Page of Cups in reverse, to reconnect with your inner child. There's a need to let yourself do something that you enjoy just for the sake of doing something you enjoy, not to like accomplish something, not to prove anything to yourself or anyone else. This is like needing to just be present in the moment so that you can complete the healing that you've done on your inner child. The Architect by Casey Musgraves is the song. That song actually goes really good with what I said. Will my husband land a new job he loves? So will he land a job? Yes. Will he love it? Not necessarily. Will he be good at it though? Yes. Yeah, 3 of Pentacles. It may not be that he doesn't like the coworkers. It's more of like the job. Maybe the type of job is very taxing or something like that. But I don't feel like it's a problem with another person. So do I feel like he finds a job? The Star and 8 of Pentacles, yes. But does he love it? It's going to be either stressful, tiring, draining, or challenging or something like that. But it feels like he's going to have a good support system with coworkers or bosses or something like that. Reading on my love life this year. It feels like you're going through some kind of major change where either you decide you want to just spend time on your own. This is like something finding you when you least expect it. I'm in solitude. I'm coming up from a feeling of being defeated. I'm starting to feel like myself again because of solitude, and something finds me when I'm least expecting it. Queen of Wands in reverse. I wasn't really looking for it. Death and rebirth, but I step into this change. So intentional solitude in order to heal and start to feel like yourself again, and then something finds you when you're least expecting it. I don't necessarily know if that will be by the end of the year, the finding it when you least expect it, but it feels like it starts brewing towards that direction by the end of the year. Like you'll see how that would be able to unfold by the end of the year. Any messages from my spirit? There's some kind of action that you're resisting when it comes to vulnerability with yourself that's causing some kind of imbalance. Needing to release or express some kind of emotional truth. In this deck, hold on. Spiritual social disconnection. So I said needing to express some kind of truth. Spiritual social disconnecting. So, something that needs to be expressed because of another person to another person. Some kind of closure, some kind of forward facing talk. Something like that is causing an internal disconnection that's causing you to be less vulnerable with yourself. So allowing for that expression allows you to reconnect deeper to yourself. How do I heal my mother wound? Needing to, 8 of Wands is reversed, so no, not communicating. 2 of Wands, taking a different path. The feeling of needing to like over explain or convince other people of just who you are, starting to not do that is going to show you, and not necessarily even just doing that, but like the program in your psyche that causes you to want to do that. It feels very subconscious, like not realizing I'm doing it until after I do it, in terms of like feeling like you can't just be you, feeling like you need to like convince or explain and then be in the energy of just who you are. Starting to not do that or be mindful of when that's happening is going to show you how the mother wound is still affecting you in some ways, so that you can release. It feels like a mindset shift that you're not recognizing where the shift even needs to occur, because if you did, you'd be doing it. It's not something that you're avoiding on purpose. It's something like a hidden effect of the wound. Spiritual disconnect, soul contracts. Spiritual disconnect, soul contracts. That feels like cord cutting. So if it's a mindset shift that needs to be switched around and there's a cord still connected, that could be affecting the mindset shift. So needing to set the intention or do a literal cord cutting, not necessarily from her, but more of just whatever mindset shift your psyche has adopted accidentally from a way that she perceives the world. And as you reframe that, you start to not be affected as much by the energy that's coming from her, if that makes sense. Will me and my husband move to a new house within the next 2 years? It feels like there's a lot of resistance. I do feel like it's likely. I almost feel like you need to, either you really want to, or something is causing you to like need to go. Or if that's not happening yet, it could be that within the next 2 years, something kind of like forces it to happen. I guess I'd word it as I see the pressure being turned up about the need to relocate. So are you going to? Do you have timing for the house? Is it not necessarily within the next 2 years? That's what it is. I'm not going to say like in a 2-year time frame. It is working towards that direction, and something feels to pick up speed, but I'm not all the way confident about in 2 years. But I do see it happening. Messages from Spirit. There's a need to be patient with yourself right now, because there's some kind of pivot that's happening for your benefit, even if it doesn't necessarily look like it's for your benefit right now. I feel like right now it looks like a roadblock or a speed bump that's inconvenient, but what it's actually doing is showing you where you need to prepare yourself for what's unfolding in the next chapter for you. So what looks like a punishment right now, or like almost like, okay, so see these stairs here? You know how like in apartment buildings, there's like all doors around? It's almost like you've been running up the stairs trying to get into the different doors, and they keep being locked. So you have to keep going up the staircase, and it feels like it's never going to end. But really what's happening is they're all locked because you're being led towards a specific door that's just like higher up the staircase. So what looks like a punishment right now is actually redirection for your benefit. A couple weeks ago, I asked the best career idea for me, and you said helping people out of their dark place. Would you say hospice care fits that description? Oh. You have the tool that could be used in your benefit of communication. You might not get the financial fulfillment that you want out of it, but with the Tower in reverse, this is like, you know how firefighters run into the burning building while everybody else is running out? This is that, but for hospice care. So like you would be willing to face head on what other people tend to avoid, especially in terms of emotionally. So would it fit? Yes. Would you be good at it? Yes, because I feel like this tool of communication is something with comforting people on hospice care. But with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, I don't feel like you're going to get the financial rewards. 9 of Pentacles. So like you'll make a survivable wage, but there is likely something that would be more financially lucrative that would fit the description I gave you better. But if you did choose this, it would be enough to survive on. It just wouldn't be the ultimate financial fulfillment that you could align with, if that makes sense. Do I have a long-term future with who I'm thinking of? Them. You. So you're showing up in the Queen of Wands energy. 8 of Cups is reversed. So you're willing to put in the work. You're willing to show up as who you need to be for this person. But so we have Queen of Wands and King of Wands, divine counterparts, but they're next to the 7 of Pentacles. So there's a need for patience for this person to step into their King of Wands energy while you are already in the Queen of Wands energy and not looking back. The energy between, it feels like something is going to come up that's going to challenge whether or not this person's ready to be in their King of Wands energy. And with the Ace of Swords in reverse, it feels like they're not ready yet and there's still more patience needed. Is it possible that there's a long-term future? Feels like this person's going to struggle to commit. And that's why they need to be in their King of Wands energy, but they're not ready yet. So it's going to depend on that. If I invest in creating and selling the Tesla candles, will it help me build community? Creating and selling the Tesla candles. I almost feel like that's running you too thin or like running your energy dry, like almost like not, it won't do what you're hoping it's going to do. Yeah, the moon. I would say no, it's not going to have the effect that you want it to have. I feel like your energy is better spent elsewhere in terms of building the community. My youngest brother has autism. Will a heavy metal detox help him in any way? Yes, in ways you can't really necessarily even plan for. Right away, that made me think of like a recipe book in this case, and then emotions. So recipe book and emotions. Helping utilize the tools that are taught to him in order to handle emotional outbursts better or lessen emotional outbursts. And if there's any like food restrictions or like texture issues, it feels like it will also help that. Anchoring in the light. Yeah, I feel like it will help. Make sure that you get a binder though, heavy metal detox and a binder, because the binder makes it so it comes out through bathroom breaks as opposed to coming out through the skin and being very itchy. So heavy metal detox with a binder. Where I live in a rented cottage. Am I going to stay here for many years to come? I feel like you're eventually going to go somewhere else. There's eventual action, but it feels like it's going to be a while. I would say stay here for many years to come. I feel like you're going to stay there for a good amount of time and then eventually go somewhere else. Seven of Pentacles, patience. Eventually somewhere else, but there for a good amount of time. Any messages via a song? Chances by Five for Fighting is the song. For some reason, this is making me think of like the need to sit and journal or the need to sit and do like channeled writing or channeled drawing. The sun's reversed. So it's like needing to give yourself the space to see something that you may have busybodied yourself away from seeing. Nine of Swords, Seven of Cups, need for clarity about something that's making you anxious. I would say spend a little bit of time over the next like week or so, channeled writing, channeled drawing, journaling. Something is going to come through from expression. Afraid to look beyond what I can lose when it comes to you. It feels like some kind of clarity is trying to come through. Any messages from Sean, Dad, or Gran? This feels like feminine energy. Needing to pour back into yourself in the way that you pour out for others, because there's going to be a need for you very soon to have a full cup so that you can pour out for someone who's going to need some kind of support from you. Secrets being revealed about a false start. It feels like someone else is hitting some kind of roadblock or barrier, and you need to be able to either emotionally or energetically have that full cup so you can come up with the right things to say for this person, it feels like. Three of Cups in reverse, because they might not have anyone else with the same logic as you to be able to help. Six of Wands in reverse. Feels like someone's going to need your support, and this someone might not be able to let themselves be supported by very many other people. So it's like a unique support thing that you'll need to have a full cup for. So pouring into yourself right now is not selfish, because you know that you're doing it so you have the full cup for the other person. I've never met my maternal grandfather. Can you tell me anything about him? I would say a man of few words. I feel a lot, but I don't express a lot. And it feels like this is something that in his life review, he realized that how important it is to express yourself because of the amount that he may have held back. Justice in reverse, the amount that he held back. almost like teddy bear type energy, but like I don't show that. Like I don't feel safe to show that I am this emotional teddy bear. So I keep a lot inside. And I would also say there's a it feels like there's some kind of loss here. Like I don't know if it's loss of like a parent, like it would probably be a mother. It feels like there's some kind of loss that really impacted him and made him be in that state of I don't always want to express, as opposed to like just being jaded. It wasn't like anger, it was loss that made him kind of feel unable to fully express what he was feeling all the time. I am here helping you. That's interesting because the first card out was the Star, and I was going to say it's like a guardian angel energy. I was greeted and embraced by family members and friends when I passed. What will my healing session with Helena help me with? Taking the blindfold off about some kind of either family wound or how a family wound that you do know about is affecting you. Let me reword that. Either uncovering a family wound that you didn't recognize was there, or seeing how a family wound you did know was there is affecting you in a way that you didn't realize it was affecting you. Could likely be a different perspective on a mother wound or perspective on why it's important. No, a different perspective on how in the past, when you might not have been in a position to really nurture yourself in the way you need it to, how that may have affected your decisions or choices. And it feels like what's coming through is some form of self-forgiveness that you didn't know you needed. Knight of Pentacles, so you can trust yourself. Any messages, any info on my health? It feels like you're about to learn something about your health. You're about to learn how to rebalance out. Loves learning and helpful. Training wheels, help assistance. 3 years, months, or days. April, May, June, July. By the middle to end of July, it feels like you're going to learn how to correct some kind of imbalance by getting some kind of information about something that was working against you health-wise that you can bring a treatment or solution to. Yeah, 10 of Pentacles. Lasting stability. You're about to correct some major imbalance, it feels like, by the end of July. Get a message. You're being freed from some kind of heart chakra blockage or imbalance because of some kind of action that you took in an opposite direction of a fear. It's like you showed up differently for yourself, and because of that, it was like the last, like the dimmer light switches. It's like in order for this certain section of your heart to reopen, you needed the dimmer all the way up so it was bright. This was like the last little like pushing of it, whatever action you took or decision that you made. And it's interesting because this is something that was completely private. It's like not something you were doing for show, not something you were trying to convince others of. This was like you seeing yourself clearly and showing up that way for yourself. If you truly want to grow, heal, and evolve, you have to let go of wanting to be liked. You're coming out of the cocoon and forming the butterfly wings now because of some action that you took in private that was like showing up for yourself again. Do my guides have any messages on my newest passion project? You have all the tools that you need in order to get the wheel turning here. Just don't run yourself too dry when it comes to energy, knowing that your energy is sacred. With the Knight of Wands, though, for a passion project, and the Ace of Pentacles, it feels like the message here is being very mindful of the tools that you have and using them in different ways. So like stepping outside of the box in terms of communication, for example, or like widening your perspective on what you're capable of, I guess I'd say. Strength in reverse. Knowing that this passion project is something that you called in as opposed to something that you're reaching for. It's something that you called in because you have the tools to successfully accomplish it. So trusting yourself to discern and decide, because it's something that you called in because you're ready for it. Do you see a career change with my son, Chase? If so, will he stay in Colorado? Career change. Yeah, I feel like he's unfulfilled where he's currently at, and there's something that's draining him that he wants to be released from so that he can start to feel like inspired again. With this Ace of Swords, it feels like he's going to be seeking something more intellectually stimulating because he just feels defeated right now. Will he stay in Colorado? I feel like it's likely he'll stay in Colorado. Yes, I do see a job change, but I feel like at least for now, it feels like he stays in Colorado. This is like, I have my footing. I have my foundation already built. Three of Pentacles. It may be someone that he knows that gets him a different job. I feel like he goes for something like, intellectually challenging, like strategy wise, I guess. Like I come up with solutions for very strategically intertwined problems, I guess, something like that. Anything you can say about my daughter's death? Is she reincarnated? No, I would not say she's reincarnated yet. This is like still, it feels like something in this lifetime was very impactful in terms of her soul mission. And there's this feeling of unpacking that and learning all that she can from it. Oh, Page of Swords, that's a student. So learning all she can from it. I would say like in a season of becoming a master of a difficult lesson. almost like preparing to help others go through some kind of difficult experience from like a spirit guide perspective. I don't feel as though she's reincarnating right away. It's like there's some kind of mission that she has based off of something that she experienced. Baby or pets, I feel like this is just confirming daughter. I had a peaceful passing and transition to the other side. So even if it may not have looked that way in the 3D, that's the energy of like, before I knew it, I was okay. I was in the light. So it feels like you're holding a lot of worry, specifically about like if she feels alone, and she's saying that she's okay. Does Helen, my mother-in-law, have a message for me and my family? Mother-in-law. I'm feeling like this is probably your husband or your partner. And it feels like someone's having a very hard time with her passing. Almost like she's trying to give signs to someone in order to comfort them. But they're not realizing that they're from her, or not believing that they're from her, not trusting what they're receiving to some extent. But she's trying to show up for this King of Cups in order to help them. It feels like heart frozenness, like feeling like they don't want to feel their emotions. But she's saying that they'll start to feel better when they let themselves feel. They're strong enough to do so. Queen of Swords, I said what I said. The Star, Queen of Swords, her. The only way out is through, when it comes to working through some kind of emotional frozenness. It's okay to feel the way that they feel, but they need to process it. I have become one of your spirit guides, and I am learning over here. Is Sean with my horse and loving her as much as I did? Oh, wish fulfillment. Wish fulfillment, healing. Yes. Hierophant in heaven. Any messages from my husband's mother? It feels like she's guiding you to know that there's something that's coming to the surface for him in order to transmute. But with the Six of Wands in reverse, it's like he's trying to hide it or keep it very private, keep it very internal with the Hermit. So it feels like there's something that recently has come to the surface that he's working on transmuting. So if the energy seems kind of pulled back or like off, it's the working through of the wound that has been triggered. It's almost like she's pouring wisdom into him to get him to see how to work through instead of avoid what has came to the surface. Almost like she just wants you to know that, so that if anything feels off, you know what it is. I'm sending you good luck and fortune with ladybugs, and I'm in my own personal paradise. Did I really see a malicious spirit over me the other night? Sleep paralysis. Trapped. Dark side of sleep. to be like a tease energy. Release, strength, malicious spirit, over me the other night, sleep paralysis. I want to say it's not what it appeared to be. It's more of like your subconscious projecting deja vu of an experience. How do I word that? Let's say something happened in your dream, but you didn't remember it, and then your subconscious mind projected that again so you'd remember it. It feels like it wasn't like an active in the moment thing, but it's something that your psyche experienced and was replaying. Because I'm trapped. I'm releasing this back to you. Dark side of sleep. I would say yes, but it's not like live. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like your consciousness replaying something that was experienced in a dream state, if that makes sense. My sweet dog Otto had to pass over. 3 of Pentacles, he's still with you. A message of love. You may be worrying if he's okay. You may be worrying if he like is okay with the decision, if there was a decision made to have him pass away. There's like a feeling of, I'm giving you an offer, I'm giving you a message that I don't want you to fight against whatever feelings you're worried about because I'm okay. It's like something's preventing you from fully healing, and he wants you to know that whatever that is, not to worry about it or to think about it. Everything happened as it needed to happen. Do the things you love, never regret doing what makes you happy, and there is no time where I am. Time is only on the earth. Oh, because like dog time. There's like a message of catching up in time, like almost like since his passing, you kind of feel like you're not all the way present in the moment to be caught up with time. And he's saying he wants you to be caught back up with time and not be worried about shoulda, coulda, woulda in the past. Does Spirit have any message for me regarding my housing situation? My lease ends in May and I still haven't found anything new. What can we know about? My lease ends in May. It feels like something needs to change in your strategy, or you need to start widening the location of where you're looking, perhaps. It feels like if you continue doing exactly what you're doing right now, when May comes, you're not going to have anything yet. There is something, but it's not where, or it's not where you're looking right now, or you're not going to get to it with the process that you're using right now. I don't know if this is needing to branch out and talk to another person. I don't know if this is needing to switch strategies to maybe like finding something temporary. I don't know if that would mean like needing to move some of your stuff into storage and getting something small temporarily. It feels like there needs to be a switch in strategies, or come May, you're going to have a problem. So either switching the location, switching the type of, like if you're looking for a house, maybe settling for like a studio that has like a shorter lease until you can find what you need. It's like some kind of solution like that is going to need to be brought in. There's something like causing a delay in a permanent solution. I feel like you're going to figure something out, but it's going to be like a transitionary fix. So like instead of you going from where you are now to like regarding my housing situation, you didn't say temporary, but like I feel like whatever the next step is, it's going to be more temporary than you initially planned. But it feels like that needs to be okay. Like there needs to be an in between where you are now and where you ultimately want to go. Are my parents even thinking of me? If so, what? More of like hoping that you were able to heal from the things that you didn't talk about. Able to find your way back to self-love that I feel like they perceived you were previously lacking. Hoping that there's some kind of balance being brought to either hoping that some kind of lifestyle change brought you back to self-love, and or hoping that you learned how to put down the burdens of other people that were only burdening you instead. Are they even thinking of you? I feel like they are thinking of you more than you would think, and it feels like there's some guilt here. It may appear as indifference, but under the surface, there's more emotions than what was shown. How do I get out of this quicksand? I'm struggling between my therapy career and a need for a creative career, causing financial paralysis. How do I get out of the quicksand? Therapy career and a need for a creative career. It feels like there's a need to almost take like an inventory of pros and cons of each. It feels like there's a bit of, I know you said financial paralysis. It feels like there's also a bit of like analysis paralysis. You're back and forth between different core values and which is more important to you. Therapy career versus creative career. I feel like the therapy career, there's some bit of expression that really drives you. It's like you need that element, but at the same time with the creative career, I feel like either the financial element or something is going to not be as fulfilling right off the bat. I would almost say after you make the decision, you're going to start to feel like things are falling into place. And I feel like the decision right now is leaning more towards the therapy career. I feel like there's something that you're going to feel like you're missing if you don't have that form of intellectual stimulation or intellectual banter. I feel like the creative element needs to come in as like a hobby, though. I don't think it's something that should be disregarded. I feel like it's important as well. But for some reason, I feel like therapy there's something in there that like makes you. Like you're going to feel like part of you is missing if you don't have that one element, if that makes sense. Any messages for me today? Shadow wound coming to the surface because you're ready to face it. Almost like you're calling the shadow wound to the surface so that you can face it. Spiritual arrogance, but it came out in reverse. So stepping into your divine authority overemphasis on external validation, and fear of success. You're going to get the opportunity very soon to see yourself as like equal with someone that you previously would have put on some kind of spiritual pedestal. Almost like you're going to recognize that your spiritual wisdom and knowledge is valuable just like other people's would be in a particular conversation. And it feels like this frees you from some kind of self-limiting belief. So you're seeing yourself from a perspective of knowledgeable or wise, where typically you wouldn't be able to see yourself that way because you would only see the other person that way, but you're going to see how you kind of stand toe to toe with them. What's this pain in my side? Processing of something. Something that should be consistently flowing is not. What would be on the side? Like kidney? It feels like if something needs like a detox, almost like a clogged pipe, or like, you know, when you run and you get that cramp in the side, it feels like that's happening, but not because of too much movement, because of the lack of something internally processing or filtering like it needs to. I feel like if you go get some kind of blood test or something, there you're going to find that a level of something is high. And as soon as that's corrected, the pain stops. Almost like if your body's overworking to process something because of a clog of some sort, it doesn't feel something that's like catastrophic. It just feels like an inconvenience type thing. Yeah, it just feels like an inconvenience, that like needing to get things flowing in that area. Many years ago, my daughter, during a mental health crisis, she said she saw her grandfather who had passed a couple of years previous. Did she see him? It was like an active imagination. This would be him in reverse, non-committal, private. I would say it was her mind projecting some form of something that she'd be comfortable with so that she could get out of like a period of crisis mentally. In this case, I don't feel like this was a mediumship experience. I feel like this was the psyche trying to project something into the mind that allowed for comfort to come through. Does that mean that it could still have his energy? Like, if she's imagining this, he can bring a message through as well. But I feel like it was because she needed comfort in the moment. Does my father-in-law have any messages for me about my husband? Feels like there's something he's trying to handle on his own that's causing How do I want to word that? Almost like I'm trying to unpack certain emotions, and I don't want you to even see that I'm doing that because I don't want to worry you, or I don't want to talk about it. So I'm trying to hide this burden. I'm making progress on it though. Yeah, I'm making progress on it. Something that you did gave him the example of how to nurture himself back into a better place. But it's almost like he doesn't want you to know. So he's trying to handle it on his own. But it's like you gave him the tools to emotionally process something that he wouldn't have otherwise been able to emotionally process. We really encountered each other in the dream realm. I wonder if that's something that triggered your husband, is having some kind of interaction in the dream state and then realizing something needed to be healed and using tools that you showed him to heal it. Don't let the past hold you back and block you from future endeavors. It's like he's trying to release himself from some kind of mindset that was holding him back. I'm stuck and it's manifested in my body. How do I heal and move through this? I'm not releasing anything. It's in my back and bowels. Stuck and it's manifested in my body. How do I heal and move through this? Lack of completion of a cycle. Needing to heal. Magician refers in my back and bowels. I don't know if you got had a doctor's visit. If you did, I feel like there's a need for a second opinion because it feels like there's some kind of quicker fix solution that would be available. That could be a detox or a cleanse, needing to kind of wash everything through and start fresh. It also feels like a need to completely start from the foundational building blocks of nutrition. It feels like there's something that is like perpetuating this ongoing I don't know if it's like binge type eating or if it's like binge like clustered bowel. It's like all at once and then stop, all at once and then stop. I don't know if that's representing like eating or if that's representing bowels or that's representing like movement. I would say needing to look at a detox or a cleanse and also rebuilding your diet from the foundational life force energy. It feels like there's some nutritional properties that are lacking. And it almost feels like it really is centered around gut health, but because that has been either prolonged or not fixed quick enough, it's causing the body to then cause tension, which is then causing the back issues. So it feels like the back issues are mainly caused because of gut health issues. So focusing on gut health issues would be my suggestion there. Will my sister Kay and brother-in-law find a place to move into soon? He is hoping to switch jobs. I see them getting a place. Whatever is currently the frustration there, it feels like there's a solution for. But with the job, I feel like it's going to take a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm wondering if he needs to do like a upgrade on his resume or something. It feels like some kind of small thing that if fixed can make the job thing happen sooner. I do see the move. I see the move taking a little bit longer than they want, but I do see it happening. But with the job, it feels like there needs to be like a resume tweak or something like that in order to make that part happen sooner. Am I currently experiencing a block, and what energy do I need to address? Interesting, because this is 1, this is 0, and this is 10. This would be crown chakra. This would be root chakra. This would be alignment between all of them. I would say it's not necessarily a blockage. It's more of needing to make sure that all of your chakras are in alignment and like all of them are generating energy. It doesn't necessarily feel like, besides the root chakra, maybe I would focus on the root chakra. Lack of a celebration from what can't be seen. I would say focusing on the root chakra, but making sure that you're looking at all of the chakras and making sure that your solar plexus, using your creativity, sacral, some form of self-expression, throat chakra, making sure you're, utilizing your message center there. It feels like just needing to pour into each of your chakras is what needs to be addressed, and then focusing a little bit on that root chakra, stability and security. But more just like pouring energy into each of your chakras, making sure they're being used, as opposed to like one that's blocked per se. What is my purpose or direction? I always feel lost or like I'm not getting anywhere. Needing to address some kind of self-worth or self-concept wound that may be presenting as a money wound. You have some kind of job where you are either speaking to or with or interacting with other people when it comes to the ability to make choices. And that can present in a lot of different ways. It could be a travel agent helps people make choices of where to go, or it could be like a counseling type thing, helps people make choices of how to utilize their emotional tools. It feels like your purpose is communicating with others to help them pick which of the tools or decisions that they're going to be making when it comes to like a what happens next type thing. So helping people make their next right decision, which is kind of ironic, saying that you feel like you're lost or you're not getting anywhere, which would make sense because that would be the lesson that's manifesting right before you step into the energy of helping others to make the choices when you had to overcome coming up with those choices for yourself. So it feels like some sort of communication with decision making and guiding others in some way. Should I still practice with cards or look for something else? Cards, something else. I feel like right now you're being called to just be the channel yourself and not really use anything. Not that you can't check it with things, and I don't know why. Not that you shouldn't use anything, but I feel like start to practice more of just that inner knowing, or like clear hearing, or like you being the channel. So it could even be channel writing, channel drawing. It's like you're being called to tap into more direct channeling rather than having like cards or something be the middleman, which usually happens when you're being called to see how strong your gifts already are if you're doubting them. So basically showing yourself that you don't need tools, and that tools are just a different way of interpreting the same channel that you're able to get without it. You're being called to step into your power in some way. Is there a big or small, is there a move big or small on the horizon? Feel a lot of swirling energy lately. Big move. Little move. Is medium move an option? It feels like there's something that you're worried about going wrong when it comes to a big move. So it's like holding yourself back from some kind of decision that would align with like a big leap of faith. But it also feels bigger than a small move. But it also feels like you're getting pushed forward to address anything that's making you question if you should stay in place, so that you can see that you're ready to take some kind of leap of faith on yourself. So I would say it's happening, but it's you know those doors that spin in circles and then you have to wait till you get to the opening to like come out? It's almost like you're in that door and it's spinning very, very, very slow, and it's going to pass the big move and it's going to pass the small move, and it's going to be up to you to figure out which one. But right now you're in the position or in a situation where you're realizing that it's time to make some kind of change. So, oh, that's because you said swirling energy. That would be the door. I would say you're setting up to make a decision on some kind of medium move. And whatever the fear is you have about a big move, it feels like that's not something that you need to be fearing, because there's a solution. Message from Jerry for me, and was it really a freak accident? It wasn't a battle or a fight. World in reverse, like I should have known better or didn't learn my lesson the first time, or there's something that I may have dropped the ball on. Six of Wands is a victory. Five of Swords in reverse goes with Five of Wands in reverse. It wasn't an argument and it wasn't a physical battle. I would say it looks like a freak accident. Almost like not direct though. How do I word this? I know all about what happens if I do this, and I should have used that knowledge to figure out what would happen in this case, but I didn't realize how it translated. So it's like not something like, oh, I totally should have known better, but like something, if I would have thought about it a little more, I could have used pattern recognition type thing. There's something about not letting his legacy die or his memory die that he's very appreciative for. It's like, you're not letting me be defeated. Something that's being done in his name or in his honor is making him feel like some kind of trial and tribulation of his life was worth it. Even though I am not here in the physical world, I can feel your loving warmth, and I hope you can feel mine too. And the TV or your phone glitches when I'm sending you signals. When that happens, when you notice some kind of glitch, shuffle a playlist that makes you think of him, and there'll be some kind of confirmation or message. Should I use cards? I would say yes. It's a way to take you to a different form of spirit communication. This would be spirit. This is like I'm finding a direct way at spirit communication. And with this, I feel like maybe even using the cards at first to interview your inner child and see what your inner child has to say or what your inner child needs for you to reconnect to the current version of your emotions. And if like you don't use cards right now, once you do that inner child interview, it's going to show you kind of like, oh, okay, when I see this, it means this. It's like going to show you the communication that you're able to achieve with them based off of like doing it on something that like you would kind of know how your inner child would answer, and then you see the cards that come out, if that makes sense. I'm clairaudient. Would auto writing be of help or just do as I am doing? I feel like it would help, but there's a need to be very patient with yourself, because I feel like your clairaudience comes through quickly, efficiently. You're used to it. You know how it shows up. With auto writing, there's a need for patience, because it may take a minute for it just kind of start to generate energy for you. And it may be that like you're subconsciously expecting or pulling of the energy on clairaudience and like subconsciously waiting for that in order to auto write. So needing to come with the perspective of not expecting you to have the audible instructions of what you're then channeling. Like trying to figure out how to get your mind to separate that your channeling may show up differently in the context of auto writing. So do I think you should do it? I do. I think there's a need for patience with yourself. And I think there's a need to build up slowly, like go into it with low expectations and allow, because almost like with clairaudience, it's almost like you're having a conversation back and forth, right? But with channeled writing, it's like I need to be completely clear and just wait for it to come through. So I feel like it will be expansive for you if you can be patient with yourself. I feel like there's a need for periods of silence during it, and that's the clearing of the conscious thoughts so the subconscious can come through. And I'm trying to see if there's anybody I didn't get to yet. Anything on my past lives? Secrets, communications, secret communications, murder, group living, secret communications, murder, and group living, air disaster. Air would be swords, would be communication, secrets. This is like I know something and I have to go into hiding. Page of Wands in reverse, the opposite of self-exploration. The secrets, communications, group living, murder. This is like I see something and I end up having to get out of where I am in order to protect myself. An offer of fear, communication again. I'm getting the energy of this of I see something, I witness something, or I know something, and someone threatens me to leave the group that I'm living with. Maybe threat of going after a family member or your family. This is like I'm in a group living situation and I have to leave because of something that I know. Knight of Pentacles in reverse, somebody that should be trustworthy that's not. King of Wands in reverse. I was just about to say, it feels like if you were to have dirt on like a leader of a community and that leader gets you to have to leave because they don't want to be found out. That may show up this lifetime in like a problem with listening to authority, or like seeing through people's BS when they're in like an authoritative position, like having hypersensitivity to the misuse of positions of power when it comes to other people. What is my spiritual superpower and how can I nurture this gift? This is the energy of a healer that helps bring balance by leading by example or showing the way. So a way shower. This is also can be channeling because see the white hawk. Creating a safe space for other people to see where imbalance may be in their perspective so that they can shift it and heal. What is your spiritual superpower? Your spiritual superpower is that you are able to show people who typically would not allow for vulnerability that you've created a safe space for them to be vulnerable, to see where there may be an imbalance that needs to be corrected. I have a guy friend on the West Coast who invited me for a visit but ghosted me previously 2 years ago. He says he cares. Should I go or is he playing with you? Him. You. Energy between. It's like not in the frame. I don't like it. No. He's showing up as lies and not ready for a committed relationship or not presenting what he wants efficiently. Four of Swords in reverse with Six of Pentacles upright makes me feel like he knows he can have an in with you if he says the right things that make you reframe his previous decision. So previously, I was looking at you this way. He feels like he can say the right things that will convince you to reframe how you previously saw him. I would word this as it feels like he's someone who's trying to see if he can have the opportunity to show up differently, almost to see if he can get away with it. I don't feel like his energy is energy that you should be able to trust when it comes to how he's representing himself. So I would say Four of Cups. I would say it's not that he really, oh, you said he says he cares. Yeah, I don't think that's it. I don't think he cares about what you think he cares about. I think he cares about, how do I word this? Seeing if he's able to have the power to reframe a negative perception that you have of him and be able to kind of hang out in the process. I don't like it. No. Oh, you're welcome. I'm breaking cycle of spiritual growth. What should I focus on right now? Telepathy feels strong with me. Message from my guides. Breaking cycles. What should you focus on? So this to me is, now that you've done all the inner work, getting the external environment to match what you've experienced internally. Nine of Pentacles, you have the strength and the tools to do it. Ace of Pentacles in reverse is like a rededication of your energy. The Moon. King of Wands in reverse. Emotions. It feels like before going any further, there's some shifting in the external environment that needs to happen to align with what you've experienced internally. Rise Up by Andra Day is the song. Will my bloodhound Boomer live a long life with me? Yes. It feels like if there's some kind of health issue right now or some kind of scare or worry, it gets better. I do feel like eventually maybe that comes back up, or there's some kind of eventual health issue that feels like it goes on for a little while towards the end. Not anytime soon. It feels like there's a long time to go, but towards the end, it feels like there's something that is exhausting towards the end. Maybe like some kind of health battle that he ends up fighting or something. But I do feel like there's a significant period of time before that happens. Oh, thank you. Pull some cards for you. There's a certain headache in your life that's going to soon be alleviated. And there's nothing you need to do. It's like a problem that's coming into a solution, and you're being called to be the observer here. What does this have to do with? Spiritual ego in reverse. Psychic sensitivity overload. Somebody else's ego projection that caused some kind of stagnancy for you is being alleviated. And you don't have to do anything to further disconnect from it. You've already done the work. And there's a feeling of seeing a new opportunity to rededicate the energy that was previously focused on something not going right. As that's alleviated, you then have that energy to rededicate into another area of your life. I'm trying to see if there's anybody I didn't get yet. 1 second. Should I try again with my parents? Oh, interesting. This would be you, the child. Page of Cups. King of Cups in reverse. I'm not emotionally available. Queen of Cups in reverse. How do I word that? I need to stick to my previous narrative. Well, false start. I don't know if they would be very receiving to the energy that you try and give. Almost like you may feel let down by their response because you may anticipate them being more receiving, where there's like coldness or shut offness coming from their energy. I feel like with the Fool though, there may be part of you that feels better if you try and you can see that it's not for lack of trying on your part, but a lack of receiving on their part. I feel like that part may help. Are my past lives influencing my life now? It's shown up as different lessons for you to work through. Judgment's reversed, so this is like a not final completed. There was still more to complete from your past lives going into this life. Like you had lessons to still finish completing. Four of Swords is reversed, so this is like I'm jumping into action to complete the lessons that weren't completed and learn how to put down the burdens by choosing myself and taking leaps of faith on myself. The Emperor reverse, not trying to control the outcome, but trying to look at everything as a lesson. So are your past lives influencing your life now? Yes. It's shown up as different lessons that the right answer was you choosing yourself. Those, if you look at the times when you had to choose yourself, even when it was difficult, those are the lessons that were unfinished from a previous lifetime that showed up in this lifetime to be completed. Did my great-grandfather actually die when he disappeared in 1876, or did he just leave the family and start a new life elsewhere? 1876. New life. Did he actually die in 1876? Disconnected from an offer of love. I'm disconnecting from an offer of love. Did he start over and start a new life elsewhere? The world, completing this cycle so I can begin a new cycle. The Sun would be yes. I feel as though he did not actually die at that time. Victory. Yeah, no, I feel like he started a new life. I said, I feel like he didn't actually die, and then we got victory, as in correct. The Sun was another yes. I feel like the second option is much more likely, that he left to start a new life elsewhere. My sister-in-law sadly tried to take her own life last week. Will she get the help she needed? And will she try again? I feel like she's going to have difficulty accepting any help she does get. But I do, with the Eight of Swords in reverse, I feel like it may be offered to her, or she may find help that almost like finds help, but then convinces herself that that won't actually be helpful. I feel like there's going to be a struggle here with that. Will she try again? I'm not necessarily seeing her trying again, but I am seeing another issue presenting. I don't know if that's like maybe restrictive eating or another form of self-harm. I almost see hesitancy to try the same thing again, but I see mental health getting worse. almost seeing it as like a crack in the ground. You know, when there's like an earthquake and there's a crack in the ground, it's like that crack is just getting wider and wider and wider. It needs to be filled in before it's too wide to cross over. I feel like she may end up needing like forced help. Like we find you this help, you convince yourself that it's not going to actually be helpful, and then we have some kind of intervention and force you. I feel like it's going to end up coming to that. Should I visit my guy friend on the West Coast? He ghosted me previously, but our friendship has grown. Does he care about me romantically, or is he playing with my feelings? Oh, wait, this is the one that we did, right? Yeah, blindfolded to lack of emotional availability. It's interesting, though, because it's not like the only motive is just to be intimate or have alone time. That's not the only motive. The motive is to reframe the way you see him. I almost feel like he's trying to convince himself that he's made the changes that he knows he hasn't all the way made yet. Almost like if someone were to say like, oh, I spent the last 6 months like doing shadow work and journaling and getting to know myself, but they did none of that, and they just feel like if they say it and they act like if they act the way that they would feel like someone would act if they did do that, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like I'm trying to speak things into existence that I didn't put the work in for yet. Trying to strong arm myself into change without making the action steps. I would say no. I feel like there's a better option for you out there. Please tell me about my unfinished work in this life. This would be a cup of love being offered, but in reverse, lower perspective, social queen. It feels like the unfinished part is just sharing more of your experiences and knowledge, specifically surrounding, how do I word this? Coming up with the proper perspective on emotions. So showing others how to be in the observer mode so that they can see what they're feeling and allow that to be teachers for them as opposed to like roadblocks. Page of Cups. I guess I'd word this as helping to reparent people's perspectives when it comes to a narrow view of emotions. People that view emotions as punishments or inconveniences, your unfinished business is helping to widen their perspective so they can see them as teachers instead. Any guidance from my father or brother Carl? It's like you're preventing yourself from having some kind of major release. And once you have that release, almost like you've started to let yourself do it and then you freaked yourself out and pulled back. Like this is giving me the energy of like going to one of their memorials or grave sites and just letting yourself bawl your eyes out. It feels like there's a big release that you need. And through that big release, you're going to see how something was draining you more than you were recognizing when it comes to the intention to avoid a certain emotion. This release will help you pivot perspective about your ability to maintain like a flow of emotions or like a higher perspective on yourself. And then it's going to open you up to realign with your passions. It's like your passions currently feel drained, or you're having trouble sticking to certain things that you want to change or routine or something. And it's because of this release that's needed. The earth is our school. I'm sorry, I should have done more and been there for you. Like the earth is our school was from your father. For some reason, I feel like it's important to say that. Is it caused by the coil I have in, and should I remove it, and or too many protein shakes? Oh, I said too much of something, or a clog or something. Caused by the coil I have in. No, I would say that's functioning properly, or it's doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. Yeah, no, I don't think it's from the coil. This was for, should I remove it? Upright, it'd be walking away from something unfulfilling. So yes, but in reverse, it's like, no, there's no need. And or too many protein shakes. No, I don't think that either. If something's not flowing properly, it may be the type of protein, like maybe that's specifically causing the cramping or the bloating that's then causing things to not flow. I don't think it's necessarily too many protein shakes. I feel like it may be the type of protein that is in the shakes. Maybe try changing that, and that may alleviate some of the pressure. I don't feel like that's the whole problem. But if we're talking needing to like filter and clear something, that could be what's preventing it from filtering and clearing on its own. So I don't think it's the coil. To me, this is the no, it's functioning as it needs to and doesn't need to be taken out. This is like close, but that's not the whole problem when it comes to protein shakes. I would say try changing the type of protein. Like instead of regular, you could try like a pea protein or like a vegan protein or something, just for maybe 2 weeks and see if it makes a difference. I'm gonna stay on about, I guess I'll do 2 hours, so 15 more minutes. Uh-oh, where am I? How to stop the spiritual attacks from continuing? What is to be done? Any message from my guides? Focusing on strengthening your third eye and clearing any blockages. This is like getting back into your third eye fully, knowing that you're divinely protected. This is almost giving me the energy of like, not to demotivate you, but it feels like there's not a lot to do to stop it. It's more of your perspective of how you're handling it, that with the third eye and clearing the third eye, strengthening the third eye, aligning with the third eye, it's going to make you feel more secure in your ability to stand toe to toe with anything you face. Because it feels like right now there's this feeling of you're in the worst of it right now, or you're in like the battlefield of it right now, almost like if you're in the middle of the battlefield and either you can just stay there and be defeated, or you have to continue to walk off the battlefield and you have to continue to kind of face certain things until you get off the battlefield. So it feels like really strengthening and aligning the third eye is going to help you see your ability to handle it until you can get out of the trenches, so to speak. Learning to trust yourself, learning to trust your discernment, learning to trust almost like the directions that you receive from your higher self that might not make sense in the moment, but make sense in retrospect, looking back. If my mother reapplies for a deferred action again, will it be approved or denied again? Approved. Denied. Is there a way to do it but have like a mother reapplies for deferred action? Is there a way to do it with some kind of counsel, maybe like a free counsel? The reference I'm getting is like if you work somewhere and the place has a union and you get like a union representative to help push paperwork or send something in, it feels like if there's not that option, then it's likely to get denied again. But if you can find a way to have like that representative type, like maybe they know a certain loophole or something, or maybe they know different paperwork to file or different wording to use. It feels like doing it just as you did it the first time, it's going to get denied again. But if you can find a way to like, I don't know what to say other than like some kind of representative or some kind of like middleman that helps either fill out paperwork, send paperwork to the right person, maybe knows how to go above someone's head or get them to relook at something. It feels like that's needed in order to get it approved. I get this uncomfortable feeling from my neighbor's son when he plays with my daughter. Is there something to it, or am I just overthinking? Son, your daughter. Dark thoughts. I'm overpowering my dark thoughts. Your daughter is showing up as 7 of Wands, 2 of Cups. Higher perspective on a connection. I would say you're picking up on the right energy, but I don't think he would try anything because this is like I know her mom, you watches like a hawk type energy. So do I feel like you're picking up on something? Yes, but I don't want to say it's nothing to be worried about because obviously that's something to be worried about, but I don't feel like this person's going to take action on the thoughts that they're having. I feel like this person is going to struggle when they're older, the neighbor's son. but I don't think they're at that stage yet. But I do think you're picking up on the right type of energy. Oh no, I really lost my place. Hold on. Any messages for Crystal? There's action needed on a certain mindset shift or shadow wound so that you can find the opportunity to seize some kind of fulfillment. We have fear of vulnerability and overemphasis on external validation, but in reverse. In reverse, underemphasis on external validation. So there's a need to be vulnerable with yourself when it comes to being realistic about your internal dialogue and how you're talking to and about yourself, because there's a shadow wound that's coming to the surface to be transmuted so that you can seize some kind of opportunity at happiness. I have fear of failure when I split the deck. You're overcoming a fear of failure, and it feels like something's going to not go your way so that you can show yourself that failure isn't as scary as you may have perceived it to be. This doesn't feel like something major, just something not going as you intended. And if you can be not hard on yourself internal dialogue wise as that happens, you then get some kind of opportunity to seize a fulfilling situation. So the speed bump is actually in your benefit or in your favor. It's giving you the opportunity to not go against yourself when something doesn't go your way, and not going against yourself opens up a different opportunity for you that's better. Does Justin have any messages for Riley? There's some kind of major or important, it feels like a group, something that Riley is going to speak on in this lifetime is going to impact a lot of people in a way that Riley doesn't see coming. There's like a certain opportunity that Riley is going to have to share valuable insight on something. Page of Pentacles. That situation is going to manifest in a way you don't see coming. Some hard moment in Riley's life is going to actually be this profound, feels like setting up for some kind of profound speaking arrangement in which it makes the difficult moment worth it, or it makes the difficult situation worth it because of the impact that Riley is able to have on other people when they speak about it, the difficult moment. I am one of your spirit guides helping you with your spiritual ascension, and as a soul, I can be in several places at once. So Justin is always there to support Riley. Just want to say thank you. Remember, I can't figure out how to live chat. Oh, you're welcome. You are welcome. Thank you. Ooh. Almost exited out of the whole thing. Why did I dream about D? Your psyche trying to make sense of unfinished business so that you can cut away some kind of cord that's not serving you. I almost want to word this as you viewed a certain situation from every different perspective of, or every different pivot of your own perspective, and something in this dream was allowing you to see a situation from these perspectives so that you can free yourself from a mindset that was keeping you bound. Some kind of unfinished business or something left unsaid. It's like you needed to see why it was the way it was so you can free yourself from being held back by it. Any thoughts on why my hubby is acting weird? Also, do you ever plan on doing a medium interview with Paul Murdoch? Oh, I might do that. That's a good idea. I will break that down on my list. I currently have a very long list. I think I'm going to do Karen Reed either today or tomorrow. Any thoughts on why my hubby is acting weird? It's not betrayal. This is like I get into a mood and then my mood causes me to retreat and then I don't know how to get back to normal and I feel very disconnected. I don't know how to communicate what I'm feeling and I'm fighting with myself, but projecting it onto, I'm fighting with myself, but projecting it onto you, but not letting you know that because I know that you would know that it's not you I'm fighting with, it's myself. But it doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with you. It feels like it's an internal battle he's having with himself that he's trying to hide from you. The Tower, yeah. And I don't feel like it's something like planning on leaving or anything like that. It's not that. It's more of like I'm trying to hide the battle I'm having with myself because I don't want it to be fixed because I feel comfortable in this battle. I'm committed to the battle. Almost like a self-punishment. Like I finally let myself feel my feelings and now I'm realizing, or now I'm viewing myself as like deserving to be punished for having feelings. I would word it as a battle with his own emotions and not knowing how to allow for vulnerability. Mm. Will I meet someone? It's been 6 years single. This is like your higher self doesn't want you to manifest a burden that wouldn't lead to fulfillment. So there's a need to address some kind of wound right now so that you don't attract a person with the same wound that would just perpetuate the wound within you. Envy wounds and forgiveness blockage. This feels like self-forgiveness for, I guess I'd word it as an energy of feeling like questioning if you unintentionally pushed opportunities for yourself away because of comparing your situation to that of others. And I also feel like forgiveness blockage, forgiveness for whoever caused the manifestation of this burden in the first place. So I don't feel like it's going to be as soon as you would like, but focusing on shadow work surrounding wounds caused by previous partners will help you manifest someone who is a match for the healed version of yourself. Oh, I messed up this deck. Hold on one second. Okay. All right, I'm going to do 2 more and then I'm going to hop off. I might be on tomorrow. I don't know yet. See if there's anybody I didn't get to. Somehow back when I saw these ones. Will the dream I had about my son and his family come true? And what is the timeline, please? Dream. True. I feel like some shift is happening, but it's not necessarily exactly what was represented in the dream. I feel like there's some differences, but there is still some restoration of balance. I guess I'd word it as like in the dream, you saw X, Y, and Z happen, and that produced A, B, and C emotions, right? I feel like it may not be X, Y, and Z that happens, but the emotions that you saw, A, B, and C, are going to be produced from something. So it may not unfold in the way you saw it unfold, but the result emotionally is coming. When? I feel like it's going to be a bit. I would say whatever time frame you're leaning towards, it almost feels like 25 to 50% longer added on to that. There's patience needed. Is my current medication a problem? I don't think the medication is a problem. Temperance is reversed. So there's nothing to worry about. Everything is going as it needs to be. But temperance is reversed. So I'd be curious about either the dose or the duration, like the time frame of switching doses. Like maybe they want to up it quicker than you want to up it or something like that. I would be careful with the increasing of it, but the medication in itself doesn't seem like it's an issue, just maybe the dosing. I guess I'd word it as if you're having an issue that you're questioning if it's from the medication, it wouldn't be the actual medication itself. It would be a need to adjust the dosage. So I would talk to them about that, if anything. How do I improve my health? Did I always have an underlying health problem? Feels like there's several things that you've been considering taking action towards, and those will benefit you more than you realize if you're able to stick to them. I feel like this has something to do with movement or nutrition. The building blocks is really what I'm hearing here. It's like making sure that the blocks that you're building the foundation with are sturdy. Did you always have an underlying health? I would say there's been something that Page of Wands upright is self-exploration. So in reverse, it's like it wasn't caught sooner, or there wasn't necessarily symptoms that manifested. But with Nine of Pentacles, it's like there was something always with you. But I also feel like that can be seen as a positive thing, because if there was a time period where there was health issues, but they weren't manifesting with symptoms, it means that you can get back to that where the symptoms wouldn't be an issue. So I do feel like nutrition, hydration, movement, like the basic simple things, and sticking to them or even improving upon them further is going to make a bigger difference than you may realize. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to see if there's anybody I didn't get. Is there a message from my spirit guide? There's one more hurdle to get through before you break free of the obstacle. It's like a message of you're not in the clear yet. There's one more session, I almost want to say. Seven of Swords. There's an upcoming need to change the strategy that you employ around communication. It's like showing up differently to some form of communication is the last hurdle. Once you see yourself in action in that way, you'll know that you broke free of the previous chapter's battles, I guess I'd word it as. I almost want to word this as putting your foot down. There's going to be an upcoming need to put your foot down or stand your ground, or like not back down on a belief that you know to be true. And as you do that, it's going to start to restore the balance in another area of your life. It's like seeing yourself in action realigns you with some piece of your higher self. All right, everyone, I'm going to hop off. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. Thank you to my mods. Mods, I'm going to try and email everybody back tomorrow and through Monday. There is a subscribers live scheduled for Monday, and I think I'm going to do the members live on Wednesday next week. Maybe Wednesday and Friday or something like that. Thank you, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.